This drawing was made, brothers and sisters, at the request of a subscriber. Apparently this is a well-known character, L from Death Note. So let me know what you think, and remember to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for more.
One Piece, Chapter 82. Okay, let's stand up.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the epic tale of One Piece. We finished up in the last one. We finished through Volume 9 and are now starting Volume 10. And, just a brief recap on last chapter. The short and skinny of it is that Luffy has now gotten involved. And Nami finally, broke down and cried, asked for help. Luffy and Sanji, Usopp, and Zoro, all, marched to Arlong Park. And at the end of the chapter, concluded with Luffy just, breaking in the door, kicking down the door, and basically saying, where is Arlong, or who is Arlong? And that's how the volume ended. So that's where we pick up, and really the theme of this one, I think, is kind of it's loyalty, and it's you made my navigator cry, you made Nami cry, so because that's the recurring theme throughout this chapter. Luffy, it starts out right where we left off, and Luffy's basically like, who is Arlong, and he's like, that would be me, who's asking? And he says, I'm Luffy. And then it's kind of funny because he goes, what's a Luffy? And he goes, and I don't know about other countries, but here another name for a Luffy, or a loofah, I think it's called, is something like a sponge that you use in the shower. I think that's what my wife calls him, Luffy or loofah or something like that. So it was just funny the way he said it, But basically, he says, I'm a pirate and this and that. So he kind of starts to put two and two together and go, okay, this is all, it's part of Zoro's crew. He's a pirate, blah, blah, blah. And a couple of his henchmen go as Luffy's marching toward Arlong and go to get in his way and stop him. And they're like, you're going to stop right now, And then Luffy just fucking, BAM! Just lays him out and doesn't even break stride. And he goes up to Arlong, and Arlong's like, what is it that you want? And he just, boom! Just cold cocks Arlong. And if you remember, the kind of theme going on throughout here is the fishmen, especially Arlong, think that they're so superior, to humans, and if you just even touch one, they'll annihilate your whole village. So for Luffy to have just walked into his home and, on his own turf, punched him right in the face, I think was pretty significant. And Luffy's a little badass like that, though, too. He doesn't look very imposing, but he comes in and just, boom. So then he goes, and that's where the theme starts with the whole, you made my navigator cry. And and it's funny because then we got a couple other guys, coming up or whatever, and Sanji goes and kicks one of them, because then he basically, everybody's like, oh, you can't do that to Arlong, and some of the guys come at him, and Sanji kicks a couple of guys, and basically Sanji's just like, what the hell, Luffy? Why you got to go charging in? And I liked this, too, because he goes, why you always got to go charging in head first, And Luffy goes, well, I don't lose. And Sanji goes, that's true, but you know what? You got to save some for us. And Luffy's like, oh, okay, sorry. And then Usopp goes, he's like, no, it's okay. You don't have to share. And then, and Zoro says, oh, yeah, how kind of you, Usopp. So I just thought that was real funny. And then it's kind of funny, too, because some of his henchmen, Arlong's henchmen, Hachi in particular, he's like, there's the guy that went and, there's the guy that went and took me for a ride. Or wait, no, I gave him a ride. And even though it's not like a sexual reference, I'm sure that wasn't what Oda was thinking of with it. It's just funny because the way it's worded about how I gave him a ride. No, he gave me a ride. It just sort of sounds like some perverted sentence. So anyway, Arlong goes and Hachi goes and he says, well, you can't hit Lord Arlong and just come march in here, and so he blows his horn, or whatever. And calls Momoo, right? And we haven't seen Momoo in a few chapters since Luffy punched him, and then Sanji cold cocked him in the throat. But he comes appearing up out of the water, right? And it's kind of funny because this Arlong Park. It kind of reminds me of almost like a marina or like an aquarium or something like that. That's like right on the ocean. So there's obviously these underwater inlets that you can get down underneath to get into these pools that are actually inside the park, And so Momoo, comes appearing up out of the water, and it's funny because he's got this big ass knot on his head, and you can only assume that's from getting beat around by Luffy and Sanji several chapters back. And they go and say, "Oh, Momoo, you're gonna attack and this and that." And Momoo goes and looks at them, and he's just like, oh, Jesus. And you can tell he's just like, oh, and Luffy and the gang are like, or Luffy goes and he's like, oh, just him. That's no big deal. Like, we've already encountered and bested him. He's the one that gave us a ride here. He pulled our boat here. So Momoo goes to just take off and go away, and Arlong's like, what the hell, And he goes, okay, fine, go ahead and leave. And then he kind of starts doing this clack, 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 and he starts shaking something. And I think it's basically like almost like a dog whistle. Like he can't. It incites him to get angry and to rise up or to to fight, that sort of thing. Because then all of a sudden, in the next panel, Momoo goes and gets up and he's just this big menacing cow-looking thing. If a cow can be menacing, and Usopp's like, oh god, and everybody's kind of like, wow. So all the pirates are then, Arlong's pirates are like, we gotta go and attack him, and strength in numbers type of thing, total gang mentality. And it doesn't mean that any of us have to be strong, but if there's enough bodies to throw at them. So they go and all start, kind of charging towards him and everything. And Luffy goes and does this really cool thing where he starts spinning his arms around like a whirlwind, right? And you're thinking, oh man, this is cool. And then I'm like, why the hell isn't he calling out his Gomu Gomu, thing? And so the next page goes and he's winding up more and everything. And what it is he's actually winding up to go and unwind this move, and then all of a sudden he's just like, and then Arlong's like, oh my god, he's or somebody's like, he's got the power of the devil fruit, and Arlong's like, oh, stop him. So he goes and he's winding up, and a couple of pages later, man, this double page spread after he goes, Gomu Gomu, and then he just whirlwind, right? And I mean, just starts nailing everything and everybody. I mean, hits Momoo, hits all the pirates, bodies are flying everywhere. Momoo's back and down for the count. Matter of fact, in a fitting page, Momoo's just like, ooh, just goes flying out of the park. He's fucking gone. He's out of there, right? So Luffy's like, and it's just great because Luffy's just like, I don't got time for this crap, right? He's like, I came here for you. I came here to to beat up you or to what does he say? Something. I came here to clobber you. That's what he says. I came here to clobber you. And it reminds me of the Thing from Fantastic Four. It's clobbering time, But and Arlong's like, oh, good, because I was looking to clobber you too. And you see that they're gonna, things are gonna heat up and they're gonna go toe to toe. But like I said, the basic theme of everything is that you made my navigator cry. At one point too, Genzo and the villagers are like still outside the place, being held back by Yusaku and Johnny. And they're like, seeing kind of what's going on. And they're like, what the hell? Who is this kid? What's his deal? And why is he doing this, And Yusaku and Johnny are like, you made Sister Nami, Arlong made Sister Nami cry. That's enough for us to put our lives on the line, So you kind of see the loyalty too, which is I think kind of neat, But that's kind of the going theme is that, what? Nobody makes one of us cry, or be hurt or experience, pain or sorrow or what have you. So that's a pretty cool theme, I think, and that's what kind of carries us on into the end of the chapter, and basically the end of the chapter is Hachi and Kirubi, and the name escapes me of the third guy right now. I'll put it in a caption down there as I go back through and edit this, but they kind of go, and you can see that they're going to wind up probably matching up against Usopp, Zoro, and Sanji, because they're like, okay, now it's time. They're basically getting ready to fight after the whole Luffy and Arlong are going to face off against each other, and then you see and then Zoro goes and he says, okay, now the real players have come out to play, so. It's going to be a real cool showdown, I think, over the next several chapters over here, but certainly a lot of fun, and things are starting to, kind of heat up and get better. So I'm definitely enjoying it and looking forward to the next one. So let me know what you think, brothers and sisters, in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the like button if you think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We'll look forward to catching you in the next one, Nation.
As always, thanks for watching, brothers and sisters, and remember, join the Nerd Nation. It's the right thing to do. Trust me. Tell them Jim sent you.